bestie, we have quite a few gardening chores to do today. So I took the afternoon off from work and I figured we could harvest some garlic together, do watering, pruning, all that kind of stuff. And then also I wanted to share a few of the life and business lessons that the garden has been teaching me this season. So grab your basket and let's go. I've been waiting to do this particular garden chore since last October. I planted 35 garlic bulbs in this bed and it is finally time to harvest them. So, fingers crossed, let's see what we got. Look at this gorgeous girl. That is massive. I'm so excited to see what the other ones look like. So this is actually my first year growing garlic, and I am so happy with how they are turning out so far. But it was also a really big lesson in patience. Like I said, these bulbs were put into the ground back in October, which if you want to see that video, I will link it here for you. But that is over 10 months of waiting to actually reap what I sowed. And for a long time, it looked like they weren't doing anything. The whole fall, the whole winter, most of spring, it looked like nothing was happening. And then all of a sudden, these little sprouts started coming out of the ground, and now we have this big, beautiful harvest. And I find the same thing happens a lot, especially in my small business. I will put a lot of time and effort into something and will not see the results of it for a long time. It's definitely playing the long game and waiting, but it is so worth it in the end to see the beautiful things that you grew. Oh my God, look at all this garlic. I planted, I think 35 bulbs in this bed, and I got 35 total. This isn't all of them. I have been taking a few the past couple of weeks because they were maturing a little bit faster than the others, but all the garlic is officially out of the bed, and now I have to figure out how I'm going to cure it and save it for hopefully winter. This might be enough garlic to last us a year. 35 cloves is what, 3 garlics a month? I do use a lot of garlic. I am Italian, but this is pretty close, and I am really, really happy. And the next chore on our list is watering. This probably takes me the most out of everything because we have this bed, a kitchen garden, more beds in the back, all of the potted stuff. It probably takes me over an hour, but at least it's the easiest chore. I definitely prefer this to weeding. Let me know down in the comment, what is your least favorite gardening chore? And while we are here watering for a while, I wanted to share another lesson that the garden has taught me, particularly when it comes to chores, which is consistency. You can't water the garden once and expect it to grow. It's the daily care and nurturing of it that really helps your plants. And the same is true in your business. You could go all in, hustling your ass off for a week, but that's not going to build the kind of brand or revenue or legacy that you want to create. It's those little habits every single day that add up over time that really make a difference. So my best advice to anyone and everyone growing a business is to focus on those small daily habits that are going to move the needle forward. Stop trying to hustle and rush through it. Learn to enjoy the journey along the way, and you're going to find so much more success going slow and steady and sustainable. Also, while we're over here, can we talk about these Roma tomatoes? These are the most I've ever grown, and I'm really hoping to get an amazing harvest to can a bunch of sauce. Seriously, just look at these babies. It is loaded, like so heavy that they are falling over. Also, you may have noticed all of these wine bottles in the garden. This is one of my favorite watering hacks. They sit inside of these terracotta spikes that slowly water everything, so I don't have to be out here with the hose as often. I guess this is also kind of its own little mini business lesson and hack. Just because you run it all alone doesn't mean you can't use little things like this to save you some time. For example, I create a lot of passive products so that way I can still serve my clients and community even when I'm out here in the garden and not at my desk running my business. And I teach you how to start that process of creating a passive product inside of this free ebook. So I will leave it linked below. Ooh, overflowing. Definitely check it out below and download your copy. And now on to the kitchen garden for even more watering. So over in this space, we have beans, picnic peppers, tomatoes, and cucumbers on the arch, which they're all looking really good. And I just harvested our first basket load, I think yesterday. So I'm really, really happy with how the season is going so far. But you may notice we have netting and fences all over our garden beds, and that's because the rabbits have been relentless this year, have killed so many things, and it has been a little bit disheartening. But it's also a good reminder in having boundaries. Whether it is in life or business, sometimes you need to draw the line in the sand and say what you are no longer going to tolerate. And I no longer could tolerate bunnies stealing my food because they have more than enough clovers all over the yard. And if you're curious what I don't tolerate in business, I have an entire video sharing the 4 boundaries that I think every single entrepreneur should have. A little pro tip for you, if you also need some boundaries in your garden, if you go to a fabric store or Walmart and buy tulle, it is significantly cheaper than buying bug or bird netting from any garden center. This tulle I've been using for a few years now, and you see it has a couple holes, but I think I spent maybe $3 to cover both of these garden beds, where bug or bird netting would have cost definitely double, maybe triple that. So head to Walmart, grab some tulle, a couple clothespins from Dollar Tree, and you are good to go. And now we're off to water our biggest garden, which is all the way in the back of our property.
But on the way, let's fill up the bath for the birdies and take a little look at our middle garden, particularly these mushrooms that we made together last video. They are so stinking cute and I am obsessed with them, as well as our middle garden. This is overflowing with perennials and wildflowers, and there's just so many pollinators, butterflies, hummingbirds. It is truly a magical little oasis in the middle of our yard.
So back here we have some watering to do, but also a bit of pruning. And then we gotta go plant some seeds for our fall garden. But currently taking care of these peppers, which are coming in pretty good. I did a rainbow mix, which are looking so pretty. There's a purple one growing. I cannot wait to dive into that. And then I also have some butternuts, which we have our first one finally developing, as well as some cantaloupes, which are a little bit behind because, yet again, bunnies nibbled them down, but they're growing back. Also have some watermelon, zucchini, summer squash, loofah, green beans. There's a lot going on back here. We have quite a few yellow leaves at the bottom of these butternuts and zucchini, which is totally normal. It's just part of the growing process, but it is a good reminder to cut off the dead leaves in your life and business that are no longer serving you. I know how scary it can be to let things go, but it's actually hurting you more. Just like the plant is wasting all of its energy trying to save these wilting and yellowing leaves, you're wasting so much energy trying to hold on to things no longer meant for you. By the way, another little gardening hack for you. My wife and I love growing our zucchini in tomato cages because now they stay upright instead of taking over the entire bed. Even this one that's trying to break out of its cage a little bit is still taking up way less space, and we were able to start some summer squash seeds here in between them, which normally these 2 zucchinis would have taken up the whole 8-foot space. So definitely a good idea to use some of these guys. So while we take this long walk back to the house so we could plant some seeds for our fall garden, I want you to take a moment and ask yourself, what in my life and business is no longer serving me? What habits, thoughts, relationships, advice, etc. isn't actually benefiting me? This is your sign and opportunity to let it go and let the dead leaves drop. And we have made it to the last chore on our list today, planting some seeds for our fall garden. But first, there's a couple plants that I wanted to show you in the garden that we haven't quite gotten to yet in this tour. Here we have our potato patch, which last year this was our most successful crop, and we got over 12 pounds of potatoes just from using grow bags like this. And right next to the potatoes, we have all of our herbs like parsley, thyme, sage, basil, dill. They're all looking fabulous, and I already have some of these drying down in the basement. And how could I forget my giant pot of rosemary? There's actually a few plants put together, but it is looking so happy and healthy. And then we also have some blueberries starting to blush over here. And the last thing I have to show you are these pumpkins growing. he's going all the way up and over the arch we gave him. We're just growing in these like 15-gallon buckets, I believe they are. But it's looking pretty happy, and we even got a pumpkin going. So fingers crossed, we'll have a jack-o'-lantern this year. And now we can start planting. First things first, I gotta mix up some of the soil and compost, get it nice and moist, put it into the seed trays, and then we will go over all of the different seeds I'm planning to put in this year's fall garden. So for our fall garden, we are going to plant some carrots, lots and lots and lots of lettuce and Swiss chard. And then I also have some brassicas, which is your cabbage, kale, broccoli, cauliflower, all that kinds of stuff. So let's get to it. I don't know about you, but my favorite gardening season is actually fall. It's just so much cooler and nicer to be outside in the garden, but also because Vermont has a later growing season, we really don't start planting stuff out till June. Most of my harvesting happens in September. And I feel like that's also a really important life and business lesson for everybody. You can't compare your growth to somebody else because we are all living in different environments with different conditions. And I find it much more helpful to compare myself to myself to see how I have grown and changed and evolved and gotten better year after year, both in life and business, but also in the garden. And that's why I love creating and sharing these videos with you of what I'm growing and harvesting and planting and just sharing the magic of nature with you. And with that, I think we are officially done with all of our gardening chores. So thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up so I know to create more like it. And if you'd like to keep hanging out with me here in the garden, I think you would like this video next.